Hi, this is Ian here at Dogtra UK. I'm just going to run through a few of the chargers that you might expect to find in a Dogtra product when you buy it, both the old products and the new products. So just bob all these up on one side for starters. Now, the UK market is not really big enough to produce a dedicated UK charger. So all the chargers that I sell come a European charger because all my collars are sourced from Dogtra Europe, and they plug into one of these 2-pin to 3-pin adapters, just like that. So just expect to find that in the box if you're ordering something like an ARC-X, a 640X, a 1200X, or if you happen to have managed to source one of the older collars like an IQ Plus or a 640C, ARC 800 kind of thing. So you should find one of those in the box if you've ordered a UK spec collar. So we'll bob that up on one side. Now, this is the charger for the latest generation of collars out. So if you've got a 640X, an ARC-X or a 1200X, or if you're in America, a 280X, an ARC-X or a 1900X, this is the charger that will come with your collar. So the first thing you notice is you get a twin-ended USB-C charger. That's so you can charge your collar and your handset up at the same time. And if you order a 2-dog model, you'll actually get 2 of these. And then if you look on this adapter here, this charger adapter, you get 2 outputs, so you can charge 2 collars up at the same time. And you see that there is 2.5 amp, 5 volt, 2.5 amp. You could use an iPhone charger or a Samsung charger, any high quality charger really, but just bear in mind that if it's lower powered, if it was a 1 amp charger, for example, that came with an iPhone, then it's going to charge your collar more slowly. The collar will only kind of take on as much power as it requires to charge. So, you know, one of the chargers I've got is a drone charger, a very, very high powered drone charger, but it doesn't really charge the collars up any faster than one of these does. But if you're using an underpowered charger, you could expect it to charge more slowly. So if you lost that, plug it into your iPhone charger, plug it into your car charger in your car, etc. Shouldn't be an issue whatsoever. So I'll bob that on one side. Now, these 2 chargers here are the ones that cause the most difficulty and the most problems. And I'll explain why. So these are chargers for old model collars. So IQ Plus, 640C, ARC 800, ARC 1200. If you're in America again, IQ Plus, 280C, ARC 1900 would be the corresponding models of collar. And this is why they cause problems. Let me go through this first. In that, when you get one of these chargers in your unit, you'll get a splitting cable. That's so you can charge your collar and your handset up at the same time. If you've got a 2-collar system, then you get 2 splitting cables, and you can daisy chain them. So you imagine you could plug another one of these splitting cables into there, and you then end up with 3 power outputs, and you can charge 3 items up at the same time, so your handset and 2 collars. So that would be in the box. So bob that up on one side for a moment. Now, as I say, this is what causes the problem. So first of all, here we have the 5 volt 1 amp charger with a 3.5 millimeter outlet, and then we have the 10 volt 1.5 amp. Now, the first thing I'm going to tell you is that, in my opinion, only Dogtra chargers charge Dogtra collars. The reason I know that is because there's not a week goes by where somebody doesn't ring me up and they're saying that they've got charging problems with their collar. My first question out of my mouth really is, are you using an original Dogtra charger, or are you using something that you bought off Amazon or eBay that you consider to be comparable spec? In a lot of instances, they're telling me that they're using another charger that they've bought from another outlet. My first advice to them is just get a Dogtra charger. They're not cheap, but they are, in my opinion, the only chargers that work, and they're the only chargers that charge your collar up effectively. You might have found something different, but my experience is, no, it doesn't work. The next thing that I kind of explain to people, or I ask people, is do you own more than one Dogtra product? So as you can see here, we've got 5 volt 1 amp, which is what would be used with a YS300 anti-barking collar, a YS600, a 640C or 280C if you're in America. What I call a small lithium polymer charger for small collars. Okay, the next one you've got is a 10 volt 1.5 amp charger that you would use with in America an ARC, in the UK an ARC 800, and also the ARC 1200. In America, the ARC 1900 would be a 10 volt 1.5 amp charger. Now, when I say not all Dogtra collars charge all Dogtra collars, this happens, as I say, at least once a week. In the second question out of my mouth if somebody has a charging issue is, do you own more than one Dogtra product? And if the answer is yes, I can almost kind of guess or bet that this is what's going to be the case. They own something like an ARC 800, and so they've got a 10 volt 1.5 amp charger. But they also own an anti-barking collar, maybe a YS300 and a YS600, and they don't realise that there's two different voltages, and a 10 volt 1.5 amp charger from an ARC 800, for example, will not charge an anti-barking collar. Whereas similarly, a 5 volt 1 amp charger from an anti-barking collar or something like 640C will not charge an ARC 800 or an ARC 1200. So my advice, generally, and this even occurred yesterday, where I said to the person, do you own any more Dogtra products? And they said yes, an anti-barking collar, and they were complaining of a charging issue with an ARC 800. And I said, right, the charger that you're using to charge your ARC 800 with, what voltage does it say on the charger? And they said it's 5 volt, and 5 volt is for the smaller Dogtra collars. And it's why, if somebody kind of persists with a charging issue that we can't kind of rectify over the phone, it's why I say, right, send me your collar and handset, but send me your charger. They must send me the charger, because the amount of times I've found things like Nintendo chargers in there and all kind of weird and wonderful chargers is unbelievable. So that's something for you to bear in mind if you're experiencing a charging issue with your collar. Another thing to bear in mind, and this is nothing to do with the chargers, is that generally when the weather drops in cold, around about the start of winter, when we start getting frosts and people store their collars in the vans and the cars and the porches and garages and kennel blocks and things like that, Dogtra advise you not to store your collars at less than 15 degrees or try and charge them at less than 15 degrees. If you do, you're going to end up with a charging problem. You're going to end up with the LCD display fading, etc., or it not accepting any charge. So just bear that in mind. That's something I found over dealing with Dogtra for the number of years that I've dealt with them. And the same could be said of any lithium polymer product. If I put my iPhone in the freezer, for example, for for half an hour, whatever, I could kind of expect the batteries not to work very well, and I would defy any manufacturer to find anything different, to be honest with you. So just bear that in mind, and I hope that's a helpful video for you and can kind of clear up some consternation sometimes when you're finding charging issues with your collar. Thank you very much, and goodbye.